Hey everyone, Joey here, and today we're going to be doing a setup guide for Vita3K, the Sony PlayStation Vita emulator on Android. You're not going to need a PC for any parts of today's guide. So Vita3K is actually being updated again, and it is now merged with the main emulator GitHub. So this means it'll be getting all sorts of updates as we go along now. That being said, as of this video, it is still a decently early emulator. While lots of games do work, and they work great, there is still a ways to go for compatibility. I'm going to be using the AYN Odin 3 for today's guide, and that is a Snapdragon 8 Elite device. However, Vita3K has decently good performance for mid-range devices as well, so you're probably going to have a good time for a lot of different devices. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to need to do is get actual PlayStation Vita games. Now, as for organizing these files, I would create a ROMs folder on your device or your SD card if you have one connected, and then create a PS Vita folder and throw all of your games, updates, and DLC inside of it. Once again, all of this can be done directly on your Android device just by using any file manager and a web browser. Let's go ahead and install Vita3K. Head to vita3k.org, the website for the emulator, and it's also linked in the description, and click the menu top right and then click download. Choose Android Nightlies and it's going to download the APK for us. Go ahead and open that APK file to install Vita3K and then open the app. The first thing you need to do is set your language and then click next. Go ahead and grant access to the emulator for full file access, and then click back to get back to the emulator. And now we have the option to change the emulator path, and this is very important. By default, Vita3K is set to use your internal storage for all of its files, but it's also hidden behind Android's data storage, and that makes it equally difficult for a lot of devices to access. Also, because with Vita3K, you have to install the games, that means that however many gigabytes of games that you have right now is how many gigabytes it's going to take to install to your internal storage. And for a lot of devices, that's going to be more than you have. Long story short, no matter what device you're using, we want to change this. So click Change Emulator Path. Now you want to create a Vita3K folder on the root of your internal storage or your SD card if you have one connected. If you have an SD card connected, I would highly recommend that you use that for this folder. Choose Use this folder after you create the folder and allow. You can confirm the new path on screen and then click Next. Now we need to install some firmware to use Vita3K properly. Thankfully, the emulator links us directly what we need. So first, click Download Pre-Inst Firmware, and then it's supposed to redirect you automatically, but it usually doesn't work. To fix it, change your web browser to desktop mode, then refresh the page and it should download. Head back to the emulator. This time, click Download Firmware, scroll down to Download Update, and you can click that to download it. If it doesn't automatically download again, push and hold and click Open in New tab to get the download to start. Click Keep to keep it. Head back and this time click Download Font Package. This will be the same issue as the first download link. Change to desktop mode to get the download to work, and it is going to ask you to download again because it has the same name as the first download, unfortunately. But just click Yes and it should rename the file to add a 1 to it. If not, just rename it and then download the first link again. Head back and now click Install Firmware File. And then you want to go to the 3 files that we just downloaded. Go ahead and choose one. One is called PSP2 Updat, and the other is PSP2 Updat with a 1, and then the other is PSV Updat. Choose one to install it, wait for it to install, then click OK, and then repeat for the other 2 files and repeat it again. At the end, you should have installed 3 different files. You're going to know that you did it right because it'll show installed with a V next to it. If it shows an X, it means you missed the install, so just try it again. Go ahead and click Next, and then Next again, and then click OK. You're going to get a pop-up, scroll down and uncheck Show Next Time, and then click Close. Now you just need to create a user, like a Vita would. So click Create User and give it any name that you want. Click Confirm and then OK. Go ahead and enable automatic user login to skip this screen next time, and just select your user to get into the emulator. Just tap on the screen to get to the main Vita3K home screen. Okay, so let's change some settings first. Head to Configuration at the top and then Settings. Go to the GPU tab and make sure the backend renderer is set to Vulkan. Now, the very first thing that you can do and use is custom drivers. Custom drivers are only available to Snapdragon devices, and it's a pretty advanced thing. The download custom driver link will take you to where you can find them and you can download them. But this is outside of the scope of today's guide. For those of you that are familiar with custom drivers, you can use them here. Just click Add Custom Driver and then select your driver zip. Then, on the drop-down above it, change it from default to the driver you installed. If you do this, go down and click Save and Close at the bottom. Then restart Vita3K for it to apply by clicking File, then Exit, and then reopening the emulator. Now, using custom drivers is not necessary, and it also can be beneficial or it can hurt. So if you find games aren't working after doing this, try changing the drop-down back to default and see if that fixes your game. As a whole, I would probably recommend that you stick with default. I haven't seen much good for custom drivers, but it's worth you trying if you want. Okay, let's continue. For internal resolution upscaling, if you have a powerful device, you can upscale the games to a better resolution. 2x would be a good fit for 1080p displays, for example, and it's what I would suggest if you have a powerful device. Head to the Emulator tab, and if you want to see your frame rate and performance, check Performance Overlay. Click Save and Close on the bottom when you're done. Head to the Controls tab next, and then Overlay. If you're using a controller or a handheld, turn off Show Gamepad Overlay in-game to remove the on-screen touch controls. Head back into Controls and Controllers. If you don't have your controller connected already, you should do so now, and you're going to see it here. Click the controller. You can now map the controls for Vita, but if you're using an Xbox controller, it should already be mapped correctly. If not, just double check the face buttons on the right. Tap the mapped button, and then the button on the controller you want it to be. You can also go ahead and check every other button if you want to. Click Close and Close when done. Alright, so now we need to install our games, updates, and DLC if you have them. A reminder again, games are going to install to the emulator, and I'm going to show you later where they install to. That means that after you install the games, you can delete the original zip files off of your SD card, or wherever you have them stored, as you won't need them anymore. But all you need to do is click File, and then Install Zip, and select your game to install it. Repeat this for all the games that you have, and then repeat it for any updates and DLC that you have. Once you do, and this is going to take quite a while, you're going to have a full list of games that you can play. You're going to know that the update's installed, at least because the version number will change on the home screen. Just tap on the game to start it, and then click the Start button to actually start it. Then just have some fun and play the game. When you're ready to exit, swipe up from the bottom and hit the back arrow, or the back gesture if you're using gestures, and then click the ESC or Escape button top right to exit completely. Alright, now as promised, let's take a look at where all of your data is saved. Head to your file manager, and then either the internal storage or the SD card, wherever you created that Vita3K folder at the start of today's guide. Then you want to go inside of the UX0 folder. Now there's a few folders in here that are important. First, the Add CONT folder would have all of your updates and DLC if you installed them. They're separated by the title ID of the game. Next, the App folder is where your games got installed to. So if you head inside of it, you're going to see all of your title IDs, which are your games. If you back out and into License, these are files connected to the games that let them run properly. Back out again. Lastly, we have the User folder, and inside of here is all of your save data. Now, the best part about this emulator is if your Vita3K folder is on the SD card, when you move that SD card to another device and you install Vita3K again, just choose your existing Vita3K folder and it'll have all of your updates, your games, your DLC, and everything ready to go. You don't need to reinstall any games or do anything. Alternatively, for those of you that use SyncThing, if you sync those folders across devices, it's the same idea. Extremely useful, and it saves you a ton of time. This is why you don't need the original ROMs anymore, or the updates or DLC files. Once you install them, you have them forever ready to go. So just remember that the app, CONT, app folder, license folder, and user folder are ones that you would want to move to another device. That should be just about it for today. We went over everything and anything that I could personally think of, and you should be able to do anything that you want in Vita3K now using today's guide and the different timestamps. Like I said before, it is still an early emulator, but there's a lot of games that you can get running and running well. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro gaming. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.